This is the new 2025 Mitsubishi Outlander. This is the new 2025 Toyota RAV4. Both are very similar. They both start at right around the same price range. They're both in the compact SUV segment. Both offer a naturally aspirated engine as well as a hybrid setup. However, both are quite different as well. So in this video, we're going to be going over 10 of the key differences between the new 2025 Mitsubishi Outlander and the 2025 Toyota RAV4. So hopefully this will help you by the end of the video make a decision as to which one you may want to go with. And ultimately, after these 10 differences, there will be crowned a winner at the end of this video. So having said that, what do you guys say? Let's just go ahead and jump right into it with number 10 on my list. And so for number 10 on my list, let's go ahead and touch with the pricing here. Let's start with the RAV4. RAV4 LE will start at $30,640, whereas the new 2025 Outlander ES will start at $31,545. But here's the interesting thing. So on paper, obviously, the Toyota RAV4 is going to win. However, if you were to go ahead and walk up to a dealership right now, if you were looking at younger Toyota versus younger Mitsubishi, this is not going to be discounted at all because basically they're sold as they come in. So very low supply, very high demand. However, with the new Outlander, there's plenty of them. So for that particular reason, if you look at a dealership's website located near you, typically what you're going to see is these are offering $4,000 off MSRP right now. So take it with a grain of salt. I'm actually going to give this win to the Toyota RAV4 because on paper, like I said, it is less expensive than the Outlander. But having said that, you can easily get the Outlander for less money just because of the discounts that are being had with them right now. Which gives us a score 1-0. RAV4 is in the lead. But now making our way to number 9 on my list, and that is going to be reliability, which is something that everybody likes to look for when they're buying something new here. So when it comes to the Toyota RAV4, I'm going to be using JD Power rankings here, by the way. 80 out of 100 is what the RAV4 scored. On the other side of things, the Mitsubishi Outlander actually has a score of 82 out of 100. So both of these, extremely reliable compact SUVs. However, on paper, according to JD Power, the Mitsubishi Outlander is going to take the win on this particular comparison. That puts us at a score of 1-1. It's all tied up. And so for number 8 on my list, and this is a pretty big difference between these two, is going to be the cargo space. And so let me bring you guys up a little bit closer for this one. And so sitting in the back of the RAV4, when it comes to cargo space, behind the second row, that's going to come in at 37.6 cubic feet. If I were to fold this second row down, that bumps that up to 69.8 cubic feet. Then in the back of the Outlander, behind the second row, that's going to come in at 33.5 cubic feet. If I were to fold that second row down, that's actually going to bump that up to 79.8 cubic feet. That's a substantial difference in total cubic feet when you're comparing these two. Then taking a look in the back, there is cargo lighting here. You do have a grocery bag hook right here. It's also on the other side. There's a 12-volt power outlet, and then let's see, if I were to lift up underneath of this cargo floor, you're going to find a little bit of in-floor storage. That's to put the third row headrest. I'll get to that in a second. Then making our way back to the RAV4, you do have cargo lighting again, but in the RAV4, it's actually LED cargo lighting, which is kind of cool. Again, you have a 12-volt power outlet, a little bit of indented storage there to the side. I don't see any grocery bag hooks, unfortunately, but let's go ahead and check underneath of the cargo floor. You actually have a spare tire, which I personally prefer. I love seeing the spare tire back there. So overall, this win goes to the Outlander. That puts us at a score of 2-1. Outlander's in the lead. Now here's one of the big differences between these two. It's the Mitsubishi Outlander is a little bigger, and because of that, it actually gives you a third row, whereas the Toyota RAV4 only gives you 2 rows. So that's one of the big differences. Now, I will say the third row legroom comes in at 18.7 inches in the Outlander, which is nothing to brag about, of course. However, if you were to have kids in the third row and kids in the second row, I would imagine that would be perfectly fine because you can actually slide the second row forward a little bit. You guys can see me to give me a little bit of leg room, so it probably will work if you had kids in second and third rows. Probably not comfortable though for an adult on a long road trip or something like that. Which, by the way, puts us at a score of 3-1. Outlander still in the lead. My next comparison between these two is going to be the power. And so first taking a look at the RAV4 here, powering the beast is a 2.5 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder. This thing actually puts out 203 horsepower, 185 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60 time, in case you're interested, that's going to come in at 8.3 seconds. And I did want to also mention though, there is a RAV4 hybrid. Obviously we don't have it with us right now, but keep that in mind. Then making our way over to the Outlander. Powering this one, again, a 2.5 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder. However, this one puts out a little bit less, 181 horsepower, 181 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60 time, slightly slower at 8.5 seconds. And again, the Outlander does also give you a hybrid. However, as opposed to the traditional hybrid that you find in the RAV4, the Outlander gives you a plug-in hybrid. Again, we'll touch on that in a second. In the end, the RAV4 is slightly quicker. That puts us at a score of 3 to 2. Outlander is still in the lead. All right, so now let's go ahead and touch on MPGs. I think that might be a tick. Goodbye. So 27 miles per gallon in the city, 35 on the highway. However, did want to mention, again, with the hybrid configuration, it's a traditional hybrid, so you don't have to plug it in. And if you were to go with that hybrid, that actually bumps that up to 41 miles per gallon in the city, 38 on the highway, both ways taking regular unleaded fuel. Then on the flip side, when it comes to the Outlander, this one gives you 24 in the city, 31 on the highway, again, taking regular unleaded fuel. And again, the Outlander does offer a hybrid. It's not a traditional hybrid though, it's a plug-in hybrid. So the way that works is you plug it in and charge it overnight basically, and that will give you 64 mpges with a 38 mile per gallon pure electric driving range. So once that's out, it goes back to the gasoline motor automatically. It's pretty convenient. So I'm gonna cancel out the hybrids on this one because they're two completely different powertrains. So let's go ahead and go with the MPGs for the gasoline powered engines that we have with us here today, which means the RAV4 has won this one, and that puts us at a 3 to 3 tie. All right, so now making our way back up front here, we're gonna compare the warranties here for our next comparison. So let's go ahead and start with the Toyota RAV4. This gives you your 3-year, 36,000 mile bumper to bumper warranty, 5-year, 60,000 mile powertrain warranty, and quite honestly, it's a Toyota, it's a RAV4 specifically, so Toyota doesn't need to offer anything more than that. It has a stellar reputation for reliability, and so they don't. However, on the other side of things, you have the Mitsubishi Outlander. You guys remember that reliability comparison earlier that we did? Plenty of reliability there, according to JD Power at least. However, this warranty, substantially better. So 5-year, 60,000 mile bumper to bumper, 10 years, 100,000 miles on the powertrain. That means that the Outlander gives you America's best warranty. However, if you were to go to Younger Mitsubishi here in Hagerstown, Maryland, just gonna give them a free shout out here, they actually double that powertrain warranty and give you a 20-year, 200,000 mile powertrain warranty. Extremely rare these days, so that's pretty cool, and definitely enough of a reason to take the trip to Hagerstown in order to pick one of these up, because that warranty is valid nationwide. So therefore, obviously the Outlander is going to win this one. That puts us at a score of 4 to 3. Outlander is in the lead. And so the next comparison is extremely important, especially if you have kids in the car, and that's gonna be the safety comparison. And so typically what I like to look at when it comes to safety is the IIHS ratings. And so both of them are a top safety pick, by the way. The RAV4 is a top safety pick, which is great. Honestly, you'll be perfectly fine with that. Outlander is an IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus, which is the very highest rating given by IIHS, so you cannot beat that. That's the same rating that Volvos get, so there's plenty of differences there. One of the reasons that I always like to look at when I look at these ratings is the headlights. Both of these headlights can be rated good, so all Outlander trims are rated good, by the way. When it comes to the RAV4, all trims but the LE are rated good. That LE trim is gonna give you a marginal headlight rating, so gonna get a little more brightness for all trims but the LE basically. But overall, IHS Top Safety Pick Plus for this one, top safety pick for this one. Therefore, when it comes to safety, Outlander wins. And that puts us at a score of 5 to 3, Outlander in the lead. All right, so for our next comparison, I wanted to check out the sound systems because I love a good sound system test. So we're gonna do that next year. When it comes to the sound systems in the RAV4, which is what I am currently in, 6 speakers does come standard for all trim levels but the limited. That limited trim is gonna give you an 11 speaker JBL sound system. So we don't have the limited with us here today. We got the 6 speaker sound system because I do believe we have an XLE trim level, but let's go ahead and turn on the radio. Let's see what we got playing today, and let's test out the clarity of this one.
I want you to know I'm trying to see what that's in for.
All right, that's pretty good for a 6-speaker sound system. And I've said this in my reviews before with Toyota, is that their 6-speaker sound systems are probably among the best when it comes to 6-speaker sound systems. So that's actually not bad. There's plenty of bass there. Clarity wasn't obviously as good as maybe the JBL sound system, but that's not bad. All right, so now that we're sitting in the Outlander, when it comes to this particular sound system, Mitsubishi actually changed something for the 2025 Outlander. There's one big change, and that was the sound system. So when it comes to this one, it is a 12-speaker Yamaha sound system with aluminum speaker covers, just like BMW and Mercedes-Benz. And this comes standard on all trim levels. Even the ES, the bottom trim level, gets this sound system. So therefore, the bottom trim level of the Outlander gets more speakers than the top trim level of the RAV4. However, that doesn't mean it's necessarily better. Let's go ahead and turn on the radio and let's test out the clarity of this one. Yeah, that's definitely better. Plenty of clarity there. I think that's what really gets you. There wasn't a ton of bass in that song, to be honest, but yeah, the Yamaha 12-speaker sound system, especially if you're going for one of the lower trim levels, this is obviously going to be the better pick. So Outlander takes this one as well, which puts us at a score of 6-3. Outlander is still in the lead. All right, so now let's go ahead and touch on overall interior quality. So when it comes to the RAV4, one of the things that they're known for is kind of being more on the basic side of things, just to put it bluntly. You do have some matte black surrounding the shifter here, matte black surrounding the cup holders as well. I do like this little ledge just above the passenger side glove box. I think that's pretty cool. LED interior lighting, that's also another big win right there that the RAV4 also gave you in the cargo area, so I like that. I like this wrapped steering wheel. It's not a urethane steering wheel, so that's pretty cool as well. But on the flip side, there's some rubber finishes surrounding these dials. That's something that I would probably swipe out because I've seen used RAV4s where this rubber finish kind of deteriorates over time, so that's probably something I would change as well. But overall, it's honestly plenty fine for me. It certainly gets the job done, so it's okay. I'd probably give it a C+ or a B- or something like that. Then on the flip side of things, we are now in the Mitsubishi Outlander. So when it comes to the interior quality here, one of the things I love is the seats. You have a leatherette suede finish to the Outlander seats, whereas the RAV4 gave you cloth seating. You have gloss black finishes everywhere, so just above the passenger side glove box, also surrounding the shifter and the cup holders here as well. The other thing is you have a full digital gauge cluster here in the Outlander and a much larger center infotainment screen as well. Now, I will say the interior lighting doesn't look like it's LED, but the design to the interior lighting looks like it's Mercedes, so that's a completely different story. Also have a wireless phone charger up here, HomeLink controls up to 3 different garage doors. So when it comes to the luxury, a lot of soft touch finishes. Even on the doors here, it's just this carbon fiber weave pattern. I don't think it's real carbon fiber, but it looks good. So a much more upscale, much more luxurious type of interior when it comes to the Outlander. And I don't think anybody is going to argue with me there if you compare these two versus the RAV4 over there. So once again, the Outlander takes this one, putting us at a final score of 7-3. So why the Outlander won my particular comparison, that doesn't necessarily mean that it is the right compact SUV for you. For example, if you trade up cars frequently, the RAV4 has got resale value on lock all day, every day. Toyota has had the best resale value as far as a brand goes for like 5 years straight. So definitely going to get more money for this as opposed to the Outlander when you go to trade it in. So that's just one of the examples I can give you guys. But let me know what compact SUV you guys would pick in the comment section below, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Stay gold.